Hello friends, in this video I'll present to you the case study of startup called Hike. We will try to understand why Hike failed. So let's dive in. Hike started in year 2012. Now if you are an Indian, there are very high chances that you probably know about Hike. So what was Hike doing? So Hike was a social media app that allowed users to communicate with each other for free, just like all the social media apps in the present times, right? Let's now have a look at some of the metrics related to Hike. Okay. So Hike acquired 70 million users till 2016. That is only in 4 years Hike saw massive user growth. Now this was a great growth. Looking at this growth, they got funding of $261 million by investors like SoftBank, Tencent, and Airtel. By the way, in case you don't know, the founder of Hike is Kavin Bharti Mittal, whose dad is Sunil Bharti Mittal, the founder of Airtel. So we can say that he got funding from his dad only. That's great. So Hike became the fastest unicorn in India at that time in 3 years and 7 months. In case you don't know what is a unicorn is a startup that crosses the valuation of $1 billion. So everything was going good for Hike. But suddenly in 2021, Kavin Bharti Mittal, the CEO of Hike, announces that Hike will shut down. And this was very unexpected move because everyone was using Hike and everyone loved the product eventually. But why did they shut down? They had huge number of users. So what was the exact reason why this startup shut down? Because we see a lot of case studies that the demand was not there or the team was not right. They had literally everything. They acquired 70 million users, got huge funding, had a good idea, became the fastest unicorn, and still failed. So let's now understand the reasons one by one. So Hike added too many features into the app. Hike allowed video calling, had the feature of wallet through which you could transfer payments. Hike allowed the feature of uploading stories. Hike also allowed, of the feature of file sharing. They also allowed you to watch news on their app. They allowed you to share stickers. Along with that, they also launched games on their app. They also did a lot of other things. Basically, Hike added too many features. Now, as a user, when you hear this, you would be delighted, right? We feel that a single app with so many features, so it would be fun to use, it would be great to use. But that's not exactly the case. It might be fun to use for a little bit of time, but later on, it will become a complex procedure for you. Yes, it will be a complex process to use such apps with too many features. So Hike did not develop USP, right? They had all the features, but they didn't have a single feature that could make Hike irreplaceable in the Indian market. The second reason behind their failure is that due to too many features, their app size was very large. The app size was 76 MB, which was big size back then in 2013. At the time, the Indian markets did not have good mobile phones, and for a short period of time, they saw a huge decline in their app downloads. So, due to too many features, their UI also got complicated with time because they started with these 3 to 4 features of chatting, file sharing, stories uploading, etc. But after a year or two, they added the feature of payments where you can transfer payments to each other, like WhatsApp is doing right now. Then they added feature of games which were paid. Then they added the feature of watching news. So eventually the app got complicated, right? So this was the second reason why Hike failed. Now, in an interview, Kavin Mittal quotes that he thought that Hike will be successful in India because a competitor of Hike, which was in another country, which is WeChat, was successful super app in China. He failed to understood that apps like Facebook, WhatsApp, etc. are banned in China. And that was the reason WeChat was only option they had. So since WeChat was only option, that is why it was successful. It was not successful because it had too many features. But the Hike team and his founder completely misinterpreted that. They kept on adding features. In fact, here is something interesting that I want to show you. I want to show you that how such big startups can also make this mistake. Now, if you go in the Play Store and search for Hike app and see the reviews of user there, also, and if you go on Quora and you see the reviews of user over there as well, you will find one thing in common. Thousands of people were saying the same thing. Thousands of people said that stop adding new features on the app. But sadly, Hike did not listen to this. Look at this user called Sumit Kumar. Let's see what does he say. He says that I have been using Hike since 2015. Hike have lots of features which are not available in most famous app WhatsApp. Basic things basic things is Hike is not simple like WhatsApp. That is, it is trying to do too many things like news app, payment, Facebook like features, Twitter, Instagram like features, horoscope, and many more. He clearly says that just remove all this shit and make it simple. So that is what I quoted earlier as well. People want simple apps. Why do we love using WhatsApp? It has nothing unique, right? It is just a basic chat app. We are literally hooked to it. The simple reason is that it is very, very simple to use. They have made the product so simple that everything is intuitive. You know what to do when and how to operate the app, unlike Hike. So this was another reason, that they did not adopt according to what users had said. They completely ignored user feedback. They kept on adding new features and features and features. Okay. So one more extra reason that I would want to discuss is that something really shocking. Hear it carefully. As I discussed with you, Hike started in year 2012 and got shut down in year 2021. So it was a time of 9 to 10 years that they lived. Now Hike did not had a single revenue, a single rupee in revenue in this 8 to 10 years of period. So Hike had literally no focus on profitability for years after its inception. It was only in 2020, that is, after 8 years, they realized that yes, we are running a company and we should monetize it. So after 8 years, they monetized it. And so they monetized some parts of the app like stickers and games. Now tell me, guys, as an entrepreneur, obviously, if you're starting a startup, it's okay to have a loss making startup, but at least there should be a single rupee in revenue. There should be at least some revenue, right? Some sales. But Hike literally ignored this aspect, right? They just got massive funding and they focus only on growth, growth, and growth. But this was the major reason why they failed. Because when they tried to monetize their app, they saw that people were not willing to pay for this monetized stickers and these games. Now, what I mean by this, that people were not willing to pay. If out of 100 people using your app, if 1 to 2 people are paying for it, obviously you can't build a sustainable business on it, right? Out of 100 people, you need 50 to 60 users who are paying for your app. But Hike literally saw decline from that point in 2020. Its pricing strategy did not work out, and so ultimately Hike had to unfortunately shut down in 2021. Now, some learnings that you should take away from this case study are as shown to you on the screen. The first learning is that more features does not mean a better product. Yes, absolutely. If you are building your MVP, or if you have already started up or are going to start up in future, keep this point in mind. More features does not mean a better product. Instead, you should have less features, limited features, which makes the product intuitive and simple to use. So keep this in mind. So second factor is, just because an app is successful in one country does not mean it will be successful in another one. Instead, you should analyze why a particular app or a particular startup is successful in that country. For example, many of my friends, when they talk to me, they tell me that some startup in US is doing well and such startup is not there in India. So we should start it, right? Shall we copy it? And my question to them is that, why do you want to copy it? Is it necessary? that the startup which has been successful in other country is going to be successful in this country. So it's not going to happen, right? Yes, sometimes it may happen, but still it is very important to analyze that markets are different, people are different, market conditions are different, due to which one startup may be successful in one country and may not be successful in another. For example, if I were to give you an example, in US markets, the grocery shops and the supermarkets are just 4 to 5 kilometers away from the home, and in that case they would be more than willing to pay for this grocery delivery. But if you say in India, grocery delivery is, I think, the absurd thing. Why? I'll explain you. Because grocery is available literally in 2 to 3 minutes. You just have to walk out of your home, and inside of 1 to 2 kilometers, you find lots of vendors delivering grocery or giving you grocery. So you have to understand the market, the demographics, the kind of people, etc., and then launch a startup instead of just copying a successful startup from another country. So this was the second point. The third point that I want to make is that Hike was a product which was way ahead of its time. You have to choose your timing, not your idea. Yes. Now, this is also critical to understand. See, Hike had too many features which overloaded the app, and this was back then in 2013. Now, this app was operational in India, and in India, internet was not too much penetrated in 2013. Along with that, the mobile phones were not so of good quality that they had a very high space for such apps. And so having the understanding of timing is very important. If you are, ahead of your timing or behind of your timing, there are high chances that you may fail. The last learning that I want to give you is that just because you acquired users does not mean you achieved product market fit. Yes, you still need to listen to users' feedback. Does not matter how many users you acquired. So the Hike did the mistake that they got 70 million users, right? So they thought that now they have achieved product market fit. That is, now they have a demand for their product and people are very happy using their product. And so they ignored the user feedback and kept on rolling out new features. So as an entrepreneur, even if your startup becomes unicorn, even if your startup becomes $1 billion startup, still it is your job to talk to customers, to understand what they want, right? You should still listen to users feedback. Doesn't matter at what stage of startup you are at. If you are at seed investment or at series A investment, or you are IPO done company, still you need to listen to your users. So these were the key learnings from the case study of Hike. I hope you learned something valuable from this video. See you in the next one.